Well, the rain and the cold has kept me from working outside, so I thought I'd come into the garage and continue on with my fence project. I'm going to use these railroad ties for my corner post on my fencing, and I want to put a band around the top to help keep the post from splitting. I'm going to use some 1-inch flat strap, 1/8 inch thick, and I'm going to break this around the corners and put an offset on it so that I can make two halves that I can put together and clamp and then weld the seam on it and see if I can get enough pressure to hold that together. Unfortunately, these railroad ties are not as uniform as I hoped they would be. So I planned on just mass producing some of these clamps and just have them ready when I need them. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to custom fit each one. So prepping these corner posts is what's next on my list. Well, with this first attempt, this is looking pretty good here. On the other side, way too much gap. Kind of hard to see, these clamps are in the way. I'll straighten that back out and re-brake that a little bit closer. Much better. Now I just need to make the other half. Well, the first thing I did when I made the other side was I bent this offset and promptly broke this the wrong direction, not paying attention. So I flattened it back out, kind of stressed that corner out a little bit. I think it'll be all right, but just one of those things when you're making it the first time, you're not paying attention, but after the first one, you don't make that mistake again. Okay, I'm using these clamps to compress this. You can see this is already split out and spread out. I'm going to use this clamp to pull that back in. I really need something to push in on that, and I don't have a C-clamp or any kind of clamp deep enough with enough reach to get in there. I'm going to try to line these up with these vice grips. Okay, here's the setup. Get the welder and get this welded up. Okay, here's one. It turned out pretty good. It's pretty tight. Looks like it's gonna hold. If for some reason the post dries out in the summer and shrinks and that loosens up at all, I can always drill a hole and put a couple of nails in there to pin it in position so that when it swells back up, it stays in place. But I do believe that's gonna work. Something I want to mention is this style of C-clamp, this adjustable C-clamp. This thing is so much better than this old style. This is a pretty heavy-duty C-clamp, but the issue is this long shank here, whenever you have to have this extended and you put pressure on it, it ends up twisting and torquing, and this thing the foot walks away and you can't really get a good bite on it. But with this adjustable piece and this shorter screw, it's much stronger, and you can get right close on the work and put a lot of pressure on it. It does end up flexing this piece when you're tightening it up, but it works so much better than this old style. There's a place for this, but this is really helpful. Here's a post that had the corner knocked off of it, so instead of just breaking that edge 90 degrees like the others have been, I just heated that up and wrapped it around so that it stayed tight with it. But I still have this issue where I don't have a clamp to reach in that far. And I ended up putting a C-clamp to hold this clamp and give me a place to pry from. So I can just stick that in there and close that gap up and then weld it. Another issue with this corner being gone, I wasn't able to use the clamp straight down on it. There wasn't anything to grab a hold of, so I put this angle iron across there to bridge that and let me hang out over the edge and accomplish the same thing. Just stuff like this, you just have to think outside of the box a little bit and what do you have that's going to work and figure out something. All right, there it is, finished. Well, here they are. They're all tight, and I hope they stay that way. I only got 5 of the 6. This one ended up being a little too rotten. I'd thought about using steel strapping that they use to ship pallets and stuff and to do the same job, but I priced it and it ended up being too expensive, so I went this route. I hope this idea helps somebody, and thanks for watching.